Well, hey there, it's Terry Sawchuk. It's Thursday, so that means it's time for 3 Minute Thursdays. And I want to talk about an interesting phenomenon that I've seen in the markets over the last few weeks. So, the first thing, naturally, the markets have just generally gone up, but one of the things that I find fascinating is that the financial sector has gone up almost vertical since the early part of October 7th, really, and then it took off. Also, lately we've seen a pretty big increase from roughly the same time in DJT, which is Donald J. Trump's media conglomerate. And I think the takeaway is that the markets are starting to sniff out that it looks more and more like a Trump victory in November. And why I think that's important is because I do think it changes the framework a little bit on where we could be heading from here. And if you just think about some of the policies and the concepts, and we get away from personalities and all the other rhetoric that goes along with it, typically what you're going to see under a Trump administration is going to be more likely lower interest rates, decreased regulation, reduction in the size of government, right? And those are all generally things that are going to promote economic growth. And I think the markets are starting to kind of come to terms with this, which beyond just the remaining couple of months in this year, I think that helps us lean into a little bit more of a longer term bullish case where you've got a sustainable backdrop for increases in asset prices, a growing economy. I know there's talk about tariffs, and there's some debate over whether tariffs are going to be beneficial. I think people who are getting caught up on the mechanisms of how tariffs work are missing the point. It's not likely going to be tariffs that we'll see. What I think you're seeing is a bargaining tactic or a negotiating tactic where the United States is going to use tariffs to get other countries to open up their markets. And that's bullish. It doesn't matter how you slice it up, that's going to be good for the U.S. economy. I also think there's going to be a huge focus on getting things produced back in the United States so that we're not, for example, we're not manufacturing all of our most important prescription drugs in China, who is arguably an enemy. Maybe not completely, but certainly on trade, they haven't necessarily been our best friends, and they certainly try to steal a lot of our technology and on and on. So the net is that the markets are starting to sniff out that it looks like this will be a Trump win in November. And that's generally pretty bullish for asset prices. And it's going to cause us to rethink the framework a little bit. We'll digest more data, of course. But in the end, our job is to help you make money. And it looks like the opportunity to make money may go a little further into the future than we thought. That's going to wrap up this week's edition of 3 Minute Thursday. I'll see you next week.